going on, my fellow YouTubers? This is DoubleOrange927 here, back again for another video. And here today for you guys, I am going to be discussing Call of Duty World War II. Now, this game has been going through basically a lot of hype within the COD community due to the fact that, it's finally going back to World War II. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And, many have questioned the thought, how do I feel about it? How do I look at this game, and how do I see it? Like, what do I predict it's gonna be like, and what do I see it? What does it mean for the future of Call of Duty? Well, to start out, I think, thanks to the efforts of both Battlefield 1 and Overwatch, I think, personally, the age of all the just relying on enhanced mobility for everything, I think that age has finally now come to an end, and thank goodness. The fact of the matter is that the age of the enhanced mobility really, it just damaged the overall effects of gaming, and it also just encouraged more BS, more stupid things to be in existence within a video game, and it's just, I'm glad it's finally done. I'm glad that I think Call of Duty is done with the futuristic crap. They're done with all this boost jumping, and as a whole, while I think in some areas it could have worked, honestly, if it was just Advanced Warfare type stuff, if it was just Advanced Warfare, that's the only game series that did it, then honestly I think it would have been fine. But like always, COD has to overextend everything. But I'm glad it's over, and I'm glad that they're going back to the World War II era. All joking aside that Battlefield 1 did influence or whatever, all joking aside, this was good. Because thanks to this, Call of Duty is now going to the heart of its roots in terms of its era, and it's interesting to see how going to what it was originally in this modern age of gaming, because we haven't seen a Call of Duty in World War II since World at War, and that was a very long time ago. That was over 8 years ago, maybe even 9. I don't really remember. 9. Actually, it's almost 9 years ago, because I remember World at War was 2008. And, it's going to be interesting seeing that again. Now, where do I think this game will be gameplay-wise? Well, so far, it looks relatively decent. I like a lot of the more entrenched maps. I like the whole idea behind, this game is supposed to have some specializations or some kind or whatnot, where it's it gives you certain equipment or whatever, and I'm not really opposed to it. The whole idea, in my opinion, is COD has been very lacking in the past few years. In fact, I think this has been a problem, really. The only CODs that managed to really avoid this problem was Modern Warfare 1 and the first Black Ops, honestly, where Call of Duty has always kind of lacked a bit of team-oriented play. It's always been the run and gun style, where it's just shoot whatever in front of you and not really care about much else. And for some cases that's fine, but it's people kind of want a little more nowadays. I think that is the case, especially with the most successful titles, at least on the Xbox right now, have been Battlefield 1 and Overwatch, and both of them are heavily team-oriented games. And, I think other shooters are going to take that into account. We've already been seeing prominence with that with Battlefront 2, we've been seeing it a lot within this, and maybe even Destiny 2 to an extent, who knows. But I don't really think Destiny ever had a problem with team-oriented play. It's just, I'm just saying. But where do I think this game will be spectacular, or should be spectacular? Where do I hope this game will achieve its glory? Well, aside from every level, multiplayer-wise, it's going back boots on the ground and all that, and I'm happy about that. If they keep everything balanced and they kind of encourage more team-oriented play and keep the map design good and all that, then it's going to be fun, you know? I would love for a new mode in the multiplayer that's like really innovative and, you know, something I haven't tried before. Like, I always thought of some tank war thing or maybe kill streak mayhem or something like come on, imagine how cool that would be, where it's like you have like unlimited kill streaks and you don't have to like get the kill streaks in this mode, you just have them all the time, like maybe they recharge or something, and it's like you can just unleash so much devastation on opponents. Like, come on, it'd be chaotic, but it'd be exceptionally fun. And, you know, you could have other things like a tank war or maybe some trench warfare thing, since now it's in World War II. Like, I always thought maybe they could bring back kind of like the robot escort mode from like Black Ops 3, except the difference is this time it's not like a robot, it could be like, they're trying to rescue like hostages or something from okay, I always imagine this, like imagine like an American and a Nazi team, and like the Americans' objective is to rescue a high personnel general or something from a Nazi-based base. This will be like one of the maps, and then the Nazis have to stop this hostage from getting away. Originally they need to keep him alive and stop the Americans from getting to him. Now, if the hostage is rescued, he ends up getting taken control of by one of the players, and they have to escort him out. And then after that, the Nazis then just basically at that point they're kind of like screw it, and they have to kill the hostage, or because he has like very vital information or something. And then, you know, this whole thing is like this cat and mouse thing where it's like chase and acceleration, and the kill streaks are meant to like slow the opponents down and all that. I don't know, I just think it'd be a cool mode, but I digress. If the multiplayer is fun and it's balanced and has good maps, has good kill streaks, and, you know, it's innovative, like, you know, does a couple things new on certain modes and all that, then I think it's going to be pretty good. Now, this is where a lot of my in-between comes. At one hand, I'm thinking it might be that it would be really good naturally, but on the other, I'm still concerned because it's like we haven't had this in a while. I want a really good Call of Duty campaign. Like, I want one that actually gives you a good incentive to play the game again, like the campaign. And, you know, like the World War II setting will help, but, you know, I wanted to actually try some nice things behind it. Like, probably the biggest things is give some more creative options to the player within this, like either like, you know, you can choose to operate a tank, or like kind of bring back some things. Like, probably what I would think is kind of like the choice system in Black Ops 2, where you kind of had the ability to pick certain roles and what you wanted to do, and it was kind of cool. It was like the whole idea of it was just making these different choices that impacted the situation. And even though for the most part Black Ops 2's story was pretty linear, it at least allowed a few creative options, which I think was great for the game. And something like that coming back would be great. I also hope for the story to go back to some of the hardship stuff in Call of Duty that you saw in like Black Ops 1 and Modern Warfare 2, that kind of stuff. Like, I want to see those like epic but also kind of like almost controversial things again. Like, because let's be honest, the whole scene in Modern Warfare 2, Operation No Russian, like, it was horrific. Like, it was horrifying, and it was incredibly violent. Like, yeah, I admit, in some ways it was like way too far for a video game to execute, especially just a military shooter, but think of the kind of things people were talking about when that was introduced, and more importantly, the impact that laid. I kind of want to see something like that again. Now, obviously, to that extent would be maybe much, but I want to have a story that would once again impact the, it would impact the community, it would impact the world of Call of Duty, and more importantly, it would impact us in the sense that we would actually care, because that's the main thing. The main thing we've been going through a problem lately is we haven't really been caring about Call of Duty stories as much. We haven't really given them much of a thought. Like, you know, when a character dies in like Infinite Warfare or Black Ops 3, we just kind of shrug. Oh well, but if even that. And, you know, there's something wrong with something like that gets uninteresting, and that's what I'm hoping this game will fix. I'm hoping this game will manage to create a story that's, like, compelling, that's innovative, and just one that I care about. Like, I'm not expecting it to be the most complex story in the world. It is just a story about a soldier in World War II, but I want it to be compelling, and I want to actually care about the people in this world. You know, because yes, obviously allies, good guys, Axis, bad guys, and all that. You don't really need to write villains and stuff too complex, but you need to create a story where people care, where people want the characters to come out alive, and like, more importantly, when you see things happen, you actually get an emotional impact. Because it's like, let's be honest, when you see some character die, like I said in the later CODs, we didn't care. But then when we see like one of the main guys we hung out with through the Modern Warfare series, and then he gets killed right and dies in like Captain Price's arms, that's kind of stuff like gets you. It hits you right at your heart, and pretty much, you know, that kind of stuff was good, and I want it especially to reflect entirely on COD, where I want it to take itself serious again. I'm a little upset that the game that's called Call of Duty, the game that was literally meant to represent basically the heroics and the actions, and more importantly, the challenges that the soldiers of America had to go through. And look, even when Call of Duty kind of turned more to fiction, like in the Modern Warfare series, it still kept that level of caring. Like something like that wasn't beyond believable. And I miss that. You know, I think that needs to return. Now, my final concern within the game, and this is what truly holds it back from me just saying, go buy the game, like pre-order, or like, you know, it's going to be the best game ever, or whatever. It's the fact that it's still Activision. Like, now before people go like, yeah, every cod's made by Activision, like, nothing's going to change that. Like, that's not what I mean. What I mean is the fact that nowadays we live in an era of gaming where we can't trust neither developers, and especially not publishers, to be able to implement any method to get money without compromising the game. And we haven't seen much of this yet, but don't forget, guys, we're only at E3 right now. We're not, well, like right after E3, but still, like, we haven't seen them implement their dark sides yet. And, you know, stuff like supply drops, I'm probably certain are going to come back, which that alone is kind of terrible. And also, if like they do that plus a season pass, I don't know, I just think it's going to really mess up the game in a lot of ways, because it's like, not only are you going to divide the player population, but you're also going to just run into the issue where you know, you're just kind of scamming people to get an extra dollar and all that. And Call of Duty especially, they can't afford to scam their customers this time around. It's not like they're the tiny shooter anymore. they're not. And what's even more prominent is that, you know, the futuristic crap, they could get away with it, because it's like, not many of the loyal COD fan base really cared about the nature of how bad that game was going to get anyways, because futuristic crap and all that. But, you know, World War II, this is where COD fans are at their most loyal, and where they're at their most appreciative. And I would hate for a work of art like this, that takes place in such a good time and era, and where Sledgehammer I've always considered to be a very competent director or developer, and it would be a dang shame if all that was compromised for the sake of corporate direction. It would really be a dang shame. But as a whole, would I recommend getting, like, the game? Like, as far as I know, like, does it seem like going good? Well, it's easily a step in the right direction for the series. And as a whole, it looks pretty good. Like, it's enough for my eyebrow to be raised. You know, because anytime a COD thing was announced, I always came in with the thought, at this point, let's see what kind of crap they have to throw at us this time. But this one actually has the chance for me to raise my eyebrow, and more importantly, like, you know, maybe make me consider the game. Because I haven't bought a single COD title since, Advanced Warfare. Advanced Warfare is the last Call of Duty game I bought. And the reason for that is because, you know, I don't really like any Call of Duties that really came after that. Like, honestly, the last Call of Duty I actually considered, like, really good is Black Ops 2. Like, Advanced Warfare I just bought just because it was kind of like a nice breath of fresh air for the COD series. Like, and you know, it was just like, it was like the first true Call of Duty for Xbox One and stuff, because, let's be honest, Ghost was literally just a port. Like I did accuse every Call of Duty of saying that they were not truly next-gen games. If you want to watch those videos, they were made, like, last year. Or not even last year, like the year before last year, but, I've always accused that, but, like, you know, Ghost was literally a 360 game that was just ported. It literally was. Like, it had no benefits being on Xbox One, aside from maybe the visuals, like, stuff being slightly better, but even then you can't really tell. Like the differences between that versus, like, Advanced Warfare was high. So I digress. The point is, though, is that this is the first Call of Duty in a long time that actually has caught my interest. And, you know, I hope they can stay true to their promises. If they can deliver us the Call of Duty that the fans both need and deserve, then, you know, then I think COD will step in a good direction again. However, if it turns out to be the same type stuff where it's like Rambos of people just running and gunning and consumed by microtransactions, season passes, then, you know, then there's nothing I'm going to be able to do, because I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to accept that, and I'm not going to tolerate that. So, you know, this is the one game, this is like their one chance to change our minds, and in my opinion, it is Call of Duty's last chance to put itself up again, because if this game fails, they're pretty much close to being done for, because, like, you know, Black Ops 3 was controversial. Infinite Warfare, pretty much everyone hated. And, you know, many of the people just kind of lost a lot of hope within the series. So, hopefully, things will be good. Alright? So, that's what I think, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like the video up, subscribe, and also, you know, just stay tuned to more content. And thank you guys so much. The subscriber rate and the views counts have been growing so dang fast rate recently, and it makes me feel amazing with it. And thank you so much for the support that you guys give me, the recommendations you give me, all the communication and all the fun debates and discussions, and they're all great. Like, you know, it really makes me happy to do YouTube again. So thank you guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, love, and may the force be with you. Always. Peace out, fellas.